Hello and welcome back, First Class fans. Once again, we are here to break everything down for you, to talk all the action, all the events, everything that's going on in the First Class League. That's right, and some great matchups coming your way this week. We're going to be discussing it with Ryan and Keith. Chris is unfortunately away today, but we'll be talking about Jindoian versus Gallego. That's right, the Ghost versus the Survivor. We're talking about Shimo versus Fishburn. Will the Sinister One take the victory, or will he get fish a burn? That's right, all that and more. We're going to be discussing it as we break down everything that happened this week in the FCL. And to all the First Class fans out there, we are back, we are live, and I am here with two of my esteemed co-hosts, as mentioned, super producer Chris Barnes, taking the week off, but we are joined by the wonderful, the lovely Ryan Permison.
Yes, sir. Very good to be here. A lot of great action to talk about for this week in the FCL, respectively. So let's get right into it. Oh, wait, no, we can't forget the stats man, the one who's got way too many numbers on his mind. And is he even old enough to drink? I think he's over 21. Keith, what's going on, man? Welcome to the program.
It's great to be back. It's great to be with both of you again. And yes, Ryan, I am over 21, just by a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Keith is here. Ryan is here. Both of them taking a break from all the hard work they're doing. Ryan, I know you're on every podcast under the sun. Check out all the stuff that Nerd Culture is doing, folks. You know you want to. Keith, always good to have you here to break things down, mostly because I'm supremely lazy and I want you guys to do all of the hard work while I take all the glory. Speaking of glory, let's talk about some news in the FCL. Well, the truth is, guys, it's a slow week. There's not a lot of news going on. We don't even know what's happening next week, although we will be here next week to break all of it down for you. But what we do have is we have some well wishes that we're sending out. As always, good wishes to Elena Jordan, who obviously we want to have her feeling better. We've talked about it before. She's had some health difficulties. As well, this week we're extending our get well wishes, our good thoughts, and every bit of vibe that we've got out to Jen Sturger. She's also having a little bit of difficulty out there. No details, but we will say, Jen, we're all pulling for you. When I started doing my announcing in the fan leagues, when I started working on these shows, you were a big inspiration for me. So all of us out here, we're sending you a lot of love, a lot of hope, and a lot of wishes. Anything to say to Jen Sturger, guys?
I'm not really sure I can follow that up, but I'll just say this. Elena, Jen, you're two of the most electrifying people on the interwebs and two of the nicest people in the world. So we wish you all the best. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, stay hydrated, drink lots and lots of water, and hopefully we'll see you back in the FCL as well as the MTS very, very soon to do post-game interviews. And Elena, we want to see you back in the arena of the FCL competing and winning some belts. So hopefully that'll happen soon. Keith, any other wishes that you think you may be able to follow up with Andrew and I? I don't think so, but you can try anyway.
You're right. I can't follow up either of those. But the only thing that I will say is the sooner that the Punisher and Jessica are back safe and sound on our screens, the better.
That's right. Two wonderful women, two lovely ladies, two real superheroes around the Schmoedown. Elena and Jen, best wishes to you. And you've got some great people in the Schmoedown to help you out. Don't forget to lean on your pal, Kevin Smets. He's got a great journey of his own coming back from difficulties. He knows what it's like to go through that, as do a number of other people. And there's a whole community out there, ourselves included. We may be the least of them, but we are sending you everything that we've got. Best wishes, best of luck, and hopefully a swift recovery and back to form for both of these fine ladies, as well as anybody else in the Schmoedown. If you need that help, if you're part of this community, the FCL, the Schmoedown, we are here for you. We're sending that out to you as well. All we want is for everybody to have a good time. And speaking of good times, let's talk about the good times in this week's action. We've got two, and I'm just going to say this up front, amazing matches, really delivered this week with a lot of entertainment and some good movie trivia knowledge. We're going to go into our match breakdowns. And of course, to handle all of that, we have our very own stats man, our junior Frank Janish. That's right, Keith Gilda.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that. FCL 20 saw 4 returning favourites enter the ring again, and our undercard saw David Jindoian take on Andres the Ghost Gallego in an interesting fight between probably two kind of mid-range ranked contenders looking to break into the top 10. Moving into round number 1, it ends 6-4 to Andres. Andres keeping up with his kind of league average for the year of 6. David, unfortunately, came into this fight with an average round 1 of 7, so he's down 3 on his. In terms of questions that were asked, they both missed the action adventure question of who plays James Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows. David says Kenneth Branagh. Andres uses a repeat, doesn't pull any sort of answer, the answer being Jared Harris. There's a couple of interesting questions in here. A family films question Patrick Dempsey is asked in terms of who he plays in Enchanted, who plays Walter Macmillan in Just Mercy, Jamie Foxx. David unfortunately missing that one as well, saying Michael B. Jordan, the other lead in the movie. Rounds out kind of the round 2010s is asked, new releases, The King of Staten Island. Overall, I think that the story of round 1 here, Andrew, is just that David hasn't hit kind of anywhere near what he's done this season already in round 1.
Yeah, a real slow start for the survivor here. Jindoian comes in and puts up 4 points, which, I mean, we've talked about it before. There's good rounds, there's bad rounds, and anything, I think, below this level would be where Jindoian would have to really, really worry about his performance. 4 points is the kind of thing that could happen with a rough matchup. But when your opponent's putting up 6, you really want them to be down there with you at that 5 point, that 4 point range. Show it was a really tough round and you can come back. But on the plus side for him, no perfect round against him. No big, huge gap has been opened up to a 5-pointer. You'd never want to be behind. But 2 points is not the worst situation to find yourself in. Coming out of round number 1, lots of points available in round 2, round 3. I think Jindoian's in a good place. The worry that I always have for a competitor, especially someone who maybe doesn't have a solid win-loss record, like all wins or something like that, is that maybe you get rattled when you have a round number 1 like this. And I think potentially that's there, but Jindoian is usually very calm, very collected. I think we're going to see him continue to at least keep himself under control for the rest of this matchup. Not a great start, not the worst I've ever seen. Still a lot of room to make up in the next 2 rounds.
And Ryan, I suppose on the other side for Andres, like keeping that consistency of 6 out of 8, while I'm sure he would rather be pushing on to 7s and 8s and getting perfect 9s, he's still kind of within himself knowing where he's at and, you know, holding firm in his own knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Gallego did really well in the first round. I felt kind of bad for the survivor. Maybe he was eating too many eggs, chasing too many chickens around like they did in Rocky 1, maybe part of Rocky 2. I don't know. But yeah, tough start for the survivor. You know, I know the sun's out, the guns are out there, Jindoian. I get that, but man, 4 to his 6, and then you know that's 50% accuracy in round 1. Ooh, not a good start for the day at the office. But rounds 2 and 3 can make you or they can break you, as we have said many, many times on not just this program but other programs as well.
Moving into round 2, Andres decides to defer to David, and on his first spin pulls Adam Sandler, which he decides to take, and sweeps the board effortlessly. 8 for 8. Uncut Gems is asked. Carl Weathers is asking Happy Gilmore, what movie is Philip Seymour Hoffman in? Punch Drunk Love. And I love this 4th question, Andrew, that Sandler's been in 2 movies in 96, one being Happy Gilmore and the other starring Damian Wayans. Bulletproof being the answer. 8 for 8. He's back in it.
He definitely is. Fires back with a perfect round. And like I said, Jindoian's not the type to get really rattled by a bad first round. And he didn't have an awful first round, just 2 points behind. You got to come back with something like this. This is the showing that you want to put up if you're David Jindoian, is you want to show your opponent, you want to put me first, you want to make me put up the points and you can respond to it. Well, here you go. Have all of the points. Go ahead and do what you will with that. I think this is a great, great round for Jindoian. Obviously, got a category he liked for people who are watching him as opponents. For all you bad guys out there in the league that I'm pulling for, remember, Jindoian, stay away from Adam Sandler. Probably a bad idea for you to go up against him in that category, guys. But he does very well for himself here, puts himself in a strong position, and this makes Gallego answer the question. Jindoian is not going to knock on that door. He's going to lock it behind him and say, you got to batch your way in to come after me. Good round. This is what you want to do in a round number 2, especially when you start slow.
And I suppose no more than David taking his first spin, Andres does the very same. He spins Disney, decides to take it. Only goes 5 of 8 though in his round. Mulan is asked in terms of what the songs are from. Christopher Robin is the 2018 movie that Ewan McGregor is in. Goes down to multiple choice on the Hunchback of Notre Dame question. What St. Elmo's fire actress voices Esmeralda, the answer being Demi Moore. And then gives up a steal on the final question in his set of 4. You can find Anastasia and Drusilla in what Disney movie. Goes down to multiple choice, says Sleeping Beauty, that being incorrect. David snaps up the 1 point, Cinderella. And all of a sudden, we've gone from being down by 2 to being up 2, Ryan, 13-11 to David. It's just completely switched on its head again.
Yeah, I mean, if Star Wars can do it, but The Empire Strikes Back, these competitors can do it themselves. So hats off to them. And by the way, great questions for both of their round 2s. I mean, the Sandman questions, the Disney. By the way, I would have been 1,000% ready to pounce on the Demi Moore Hunchback of Notre Dame, one of the most criminally underrated animated films of all time. And then the characters you'll find in this movie, the 1950s animated film. Woo! I would have had to check to multiple choice, but I probably would have gotten it with Cinderella, even though I haven't seen Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty. Sorry, some of my Disney credibility just went out the window. But great questions. Dig the Sandman. Dig the Disney animated. But man, I wasn't sure if Gallego was pulling a Bateman or he was just trying to figure it out in certain points because he's like, let me think about this. Oh yeah, it's Demi Moore. I'm like, dude, Demi Moore in Hunchback of Notre Dame. That is a softball to me, man. I could eat that question for breakfast. But other than that, it was a great round 2, and then the lead changes. So round 3, boy, is it an interesting one. Am I right, Keith?
Definitely, Ryan. It's a seesaw battle all the way through these kind of first 12 or so questions so far, and it continues into round 3. Gallego's 2 and movie release dates. How many Star Wars movies were released in the 80s? The last second says 2. Back to Jindoian on his 2. Oscars. What Star Wars movie? We're still in Star Wars. Did John Williams earn an Academy Award for? Takes his time, comes out with Force Awakens. Incorrect, unfortunately, the answer being A New Hope. And then it's a level game, and then we're just kind of side by side. It's all about the 3s and the 5s together. Gallego goes up in his 3-pointer in the category of Pixar. What's the name of the race in cars? The Piston Cup. Uses a repeat, gets it out. Back to Jindoian on his 3. Ed Harris, PLD, will be happy with this coming up. Mitch Wilkinson, the character alongside Nick Cage, National Treasure, Book of Secrets. Nice that they're using the sequel, not the original movie again. Just testing competitors in the last round. We're level again. It's all on the 5s. Gallego's 5, 70s. Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep both win an Oscar for What 78 movie. Uses his last repeat, eking out every last second for himself, playing the game properly, using everything that he has. Comes out with Kramer v. Kramer, goes up 21-16, and it's all on David. In the category scores and soundtracks for his 5-pointer, Ludwig Göransson composed the score for 2 films based on Marvel Comics in 2018. One was Black Panther, name the other. 2 repeats, winds down the clock, and says Avengers Infinity War. And your winner. There was a challenge, an incorrect challenge on David's part, unfortunately. The answer being Venom. Gallego pulls out the win, 21-16. A come-from-behind victory, having been ahead, Ryan. But listen, I gave Gallego a hard time this last week, saying that he's a guy that gives you a chance. He's a guy that gives you an opening. But he shut down the door in the end in round 3 on David.
He most certainly did. Those are some great round 3 questions. Granted, I think the 5-pointer with Kramer v. Kramer, I don't know if I count that exactly as a 5-pointer, because when you have Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman in the question, like you're thinking to yourself, Dustin Hoffman and that woman named Meryl Streep, what movie were they in together that they had a little bit of problems on? Oh, yeah, Kramer versus Kramer. Plus, it's named after the greatest sitcom character of all time, Cosmo Kramer, so thank you for that, even though it predates the creation of that sitcom. But anyway, I digress. But still, no, look, good match. I wanted Survivor to win this one. Sorry, Gallego. No, it's nothing personal. It's business. But other than that, great match, great questions. PLD, well done. Good ones in there. And hey, look, he's a survivor, so he will be back. He is going to be back. David Jindoian ain't going anywhere. So, sorry, not going anywhere. Get my wordage right, because I know my English teachers wouldn't be happy for me using certain words. But good match, good questions, good times, good competitors. Both of them were really respectful of each other during the post-game interviews. So I dug that about him, and I look forward to seeing what they do in the future. Gallego, he's moving up in the rankings now with the 2 and what is it like one? Now he's like
2-1.
2-1. Thank you. I was trying to think of the numbers. Me and Matt, they never go well together. Quote me on that. There you go. There's your plug for the week. And Jindoian, tough day. That 5-pointer. Listen, I was actually thinking of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the other film. because it says films based on Marvel Comics. So I'm thinking it's not an MCU, so it's got to be something outside of the realm. I'm thinking it can't be this, it can't be that. It's got to be Into the Spider-Verse, because Into the Spider-Verse, I believe, came out in 2018. So I was wrong, because I didn't see Venom, nor do I ever want to see Venom. So forgotten film, but that was the answer. Tough day for you, Jindoian, but you will be back. Take it easy on the eggs, though, there, buddy, next time. But other than that, good match. Sorry I'm rambling, Keith. Andrew, what do you think about all this?
Well, round number 3, Jindoian versus Gallego, is short, at least 50% on sleeves, but not on excitement or gameplay. Both guys coming in very hard on this round number 3. Jindoian, I think he plays well here. He takes his time. He does what he needs to. He even takes the chance. It's a bold move. Maybe it's not a good challenge, but he takes that challenge on the end. It's still there. It's still available. Go for it. Try and see if you can make your way back in. Get that door that's still open a crack and wedge it right on open. Get yourself another question, whatever you have to do. I also have to mirror what you said, Ryan. I think the questions this week have been very impressive across the board. Very well put together, good solid level of difficulty from beginning to end. Maybe on a 5-point, 1 or 2 less context clues might be helpful. You are right. Kramer versus Kramer may slip by. That being said, doesn't take anything away from either competitor, because both guys are doing exactly what I preach on this show every week. They're using their time. They're making their way through the questions with some thoughtfulness. They're taking those JTEs. They're using every second that's allotted to them in order to give us an exciting matchup. And it was. We had the lead change twice before round number 3. They both come in. They fire it off. And we are looking down the barrel at sudden death. Unfortunately for Jindoian, that final question slips by him, and we are stuck with Gallego taking the win. I know Jindoian's not happy about it, but the Gallegos got to be thrilled. Good match for both competitors. I can't imagine we're not going to see both these guys come back very soon in big matchups. Maybe it won't be a closer for Jindoian next time. It might be for Gallego, and I'm looking forward to seeing what both these guys do, because if this match is any indication, they're going to bring the excitement when they show up.
Definitely, Andrew. I think I want to talk about Andres in terms of his positioning in the rankings after we break down the main event. But definitely on the 5, the Marvel question, my head went the same as you, Ryan. It went to Spider-Verse, and then I started to work back, and I was like, okay, it's not Infinity War, because that was Silvestri. And then Deadpool 2 came into my head, and I was like, could Fox have put the coin up for Ludwig to do that? And I wouldn't have gotten to Venom at all. So it was a great question. As alluded to, that Ed Harris 3-pointer was really good, asking for a sequel for a change, just mixing up ever so slightly. But listen, unfortunately for David, gets the L. Andres moves on 2-1, and we move into our main event. Travis Fishburn, James Shimo, 2 place 3 in the rankings. I said that this needed to happen a few weeks ago, and it happened this week. Moving into round 1, Fishburn gets the perfect round, doesn't get his bonus, 8-6 after round 1. Shimo, unfortunately, missing the last 2 questions in new releases. The Russell Crowe 2020 thriller, he says in Unsane, the answer being Unhinged. Again, this is a movie that we've talked about new releases. It's a crapshoot, let's be perfectly honest. You could get Tenet or you could get anything else. And unfortunately, Shimo missing the director's question of Rob Reiner, is the director of Ghost of Mississippi, The American President, and Misery. There's some other nice questions in here. Famous actor and actress. What actor stars in Rudy, Jurassic Park, and Old School? Vince Vaughn. Face in the A-Team in 2010 movie wasn't really seen by too many people, but I enjoyed it from my own personal opinion. Fishburn missing the bonus of Jerome Jerry Lovell in 94's Neil. He says Woody Harrelson, the answer being Liam Neeson. But all in all, 8-6. The Tash is looking well on Travis, Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Reject. Yeah, to be honest with you, look, Fishburn, I know I give you a lot of, shade because of your outfits, your 50s stash, and your, probably $25, $30 shades. But aside from that, I mean, great playing. You knew your stuff. You knew what was going on, and then once what was it? Brad Gilmore said, we need to make sure to see your board because of the glare on his camera was being a little bit snippy. But then he fixed that. He's like, the answer is this. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy's going to play this character until he's dead and buried. That's fine, Travis. That's fine. I can dig it. But no, listen, good questions. Shimo is, he's wearing the same outfit that he wears every day. So he's claiming to be the next Einstein. And, if he splits the atom, we'll let it slide. But look, he's a sinister one. He could be crafty. He can always come back in rounds 2 and 3. But look, good questions, good round. And Fishburn with a perfect round 1, aside from not getting the bonus. This guy's on a warpath. He wants some belts, and he wants them now, despite his caricature and trying to make fun with a Flirtenplaus. But if there were a title match tomorrow, I think Fishburn would take the belt. But anyway, rounds 2 and 3. Let's get into that.
Andrew, Fishburn is almost kind of gone under the radar in the sense that we talk about Montano, we talk about Fitzsimmons, we talk about all these players. And I don't think Fishburn gets the recognition among the community that maybe he should.
Well, I mean, Travis Fishburn is without a doubt one of the strong competitors near the top of the list in the FCL. His performance in matches has been unmatched, but he's not getting the same level of acclaim. You're correct, the same level of content. And we are as guilty of it as anyone else. We're not talking about Travis Fishburn on this show maybe as often as we should, considering the level with which he is competing. Now, you may think the stash is trash. Personally, I'd refer to Chris Adams on that one. You may think that you need to throw him out and get rid of him, take him out of your way, but Fishburn's not going to let it happen. He's going to show up. He's going to play a solid game. He's going to put up as many points as possible. And when you're playing against Travis Fishburn, as many points as possible is like 80, 90% every round. He's a great player. He always shows up. And in this match, he's up against Shimo. So I'll tell you the truth, Keith. I don't care what the score is in round number 1. I know with Fishburn and Shimo, what we're going to get is we're going to get a lot of character. We're going to get a lot of these guys coming through the screen and showing you what it means to stand up and say, this is who I am. This is why I'm here in the FCL. Points be damned. You're going to love me. You're going to hate me. And that is what I love when you see someone with a big character step up and have a little bit of fun with it. I know we're getting it from these guys right away in round number 1. And I know the rest of the match is going to be great because of it.
Let's move into round 2. Fishburn in the lead by 2, decides to go first. I really, really like this aggressive move. Let's put more points on the board. Let's put Shimo under more pressure possible. On his first spin, Star Wars comes up. And you would think with Shimo being the IG player on the table that perhaps that was the slice he put on. But Fishburn decides to take it off the board straight away and said, yeah, no problem, I'll take this. And again, much the same as Jindoian in the first match, sweeps it, 8 for 8. What colour is Mace Windu's lightsaber? What's the only actor to be nominated for his work in a Star Wars movie? What was the final performance by the original Chewbacca actor? And how many Star Wars movies were released in the 2000s? 3. 8 for 8. And this has just gone from being a 2-point lead to a 10-point gap. And I mean, what's Shimo thinking in this moment, right?
Well, he's probably thinking he shouldn't wear black shirts anymore because you're going to sweat a lot under the lights. Sinister One, who claims to have a Sinister Six working for him, even though Marvel created that like 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago. Do your comic book history there, buddy, if you're an Intergeekdom player. But I'm just saying, aside from that, he's probably thinking, well, I better get a strength of mine or get a good slice on the wheel respectively so that I can, get another 8 points and close the gap as much as I can, if that's possible. But Fishburn killing it with Star Wars, I probably should have known, considering he has like how many Star Wars things in the background of his studio? Like 30 of them, more so than I've seen in Sonny's studio. No offense, Sonny, it's okay. The original 1977 poster is classic and it's chef's kiss, no problem. But yeah, he has a Stormtrooper helmet in the background. I'm thinking, yeah, he's going to stick with that. It took me a second to put the two together. I'm thinking, Star Wars, huh? Okay. But then I looked at his set again and I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, he's got like 30 things Star Wars related, so yeah, he probably should stick with that. Why not? But yeah, no, Shimo's got to put some points on the board, and hopefully he can.
So we're on to Shimo's spin, and something that Andrew Guy said years ago when he was playing with Drew McWeeny of the family. McWeeny used to always say, don't chase slices on the wheel. And it's almost like Shimo does this in his round. Spin first, gets famous actor and actresses, says it's a bit broad and decides to respin, gets a very specific category in Jennifer Lopez and goes 6 of 8. Doesn't give up a steal, to be fair to him. The first question is the 2019 crime drama with J-Lo and a group of New York City strippers. On the multiple choice, gets Hustlers. Then knows Selena. On the multiple choice, then gets Enough, and then rounds out the round with the 97 action adventure film with Ice Cube being Anaconda. Makes a nice little Nicki Minaj joke to kind of round us out. But unfortunately, Andrew, that gap that was 2 has now doubled to 4. We're 16-12, and Shimo's looking down the barrel of a defeat potentially.
Well, I've said before that going out first on the wheel and putting the pressure on your opponent is definitely a move that you want to make sometimes. It's something that you have in your toolbox when you're going into these matchups, especially when you have a lead starting the round off. Love the play by Fishburn. Love the points he puts up. And I got to agree with Ryan. Look around competitors in the room of the person that you're playing against. What posters do they have? What memorabilia is sitting there? Maybe this will give you an idea. And in this case, it wouldn't have helped. Obviously, he's spinning first. You don't get a chance to take it away from him. But Ryan is correct. Unless he's been to a restaurant on Endor, the only reason to have that Stormtrooper helmet is because you are a Star Wars fan. If you've been to the restaurant on Endor, that's your dishes. It's a great, great move by Fishburn and Sinister Shimo coming back. There is one thing I will jump out and say, because I don't think there's a lot that we can really fault Shimo on here. He takes his multiple choices. He gets the points that he can. He did everything he could, but I will agree with him about one very simple thing. Famous actors and actresses is a very broad category. You could ask me about any actor or actress who's become famous for anything. You could ask me what movies they were in. You could ask me if they directed something. You could ask me who they got married to. In all honesty, this category is quite literally like spinning. Just ask me anything about movies. I agree with him. Very broad category. I've kind of always hated this one. Maybe take it off the wheel, folks. Maybe famous actors and actresses is too much. Maybe that's too many things in one category. So I don't hate the spin away. That being said, I think it might have been more surface level. So it's up in the air. That's really on Shimo, and I don't know where his strength lies on this one. Still, as I said, he does what he can. He stays as close as possible, only gives up a little bit, and is behind by 4. And you know what I've said before about this one, Keith. The only thing you don't want to be is 5 or more behind. That's where the trouble really starts. So he defended well.
So let's move into round 3. Let's see this out. Schmoes 2 is in the category of Ed Harris. PLD is quite happy again that it's popped up. This question of Ed Harris and Susan Sarandon as divorced NY City, a couple struggling to look after the kids. Julia Roberts is involved in the movie. Stepmom being the correct answer. Shimo runs down the clock, just enough for a guess. Couldn't get it. And then on the 3, in directors, who directed 12 Monkeys in Brazil, uses his last repeat on this. Can't pull it. Roman Polanski is what he says, Terry Gilliam being the answer, and then it's all in his 5. In the category of 80s, this 89 family film starring Fred Savage, Beau Bridges, and Christian Slater. It follows 3 kids going to a video game tournament. The Wizard gets his 5-pointer, 17-16 up, and then it's all on Fishburn. In his 2, Oscars, who played Judy Garland in Judy, Renee Zellweger, and your winner, 18-17. I said that Fishburn was going to put him away easily, and Ryan, I was right for a change.
You were right for a change. Get out of here. But no, seriously, I was there are a lot of parts of this match where I was smiling, not just because of the great pre-match promo that went into this match between Shimo and Fishburn, but also the questions in round 5, baby. Like, you're talking about how many times can we say that the movie trivia Schmoedown or FCL have brought up the Wizard? Okay? That is a rarity. And when you bring that up, I'm sure, Andrew, when you were watching this in your studio, I'm sure you were thinking to yourself, we were just discussing this on Twitter the other day, and this question is a 5-pointer that if we were in the ring in front of millions and millions of people watching at home, we would have gotten that 5-pointer. We would have, oh my gosh, we would have been celebrating in the non-existent streets. Would have been awesome-tacular, as a pundit we all know likes to say. So I loved it. I loved round 3, the 5-pointer being the Wizard. Heck yeah, son, I would get me those 5 points. And by the way, Judy Garland question about Renee Zellweger. Just saw the movie last year during COVID. Loved it. Fantastic biopic. Another one, what was it? The who directed those 3 films? I had to think about it really hard because I saw 12 Monkeys last year for the first time. I'm thinking about who was the director? Who was it? And then that came to me at the last split second, Terry Gilliam. So, Shimo, if I were there and I could have telepathically gotten those answers to you, I would have done it, even though I don't like you because you're a bad guy. But still, I would have helped you. My gosh. PLD and the peeps that write these questions. When you throw in a Fred Savage, one of America's greatest treasures, with the Wizard, that a lot of us in this room grew up watching as a kid on VHS. VHS! I love you. So great job. Great match. Listen, Shimo may not have won. Fishburn walked away with a big fat W. But Shimo, he got shook up a lot during this match. He was shaken, especially when he missed a few questions. You could tell the expressions on his face, like, dang it, I should have known X, Y, Z. What? But listen, Sinister One, if you got a Sinister 6 in your back pocket, feel free to reveal it during your next match, because I'm kind of curious about who is in the Sinister 6 Smithers. Who do we have? But Fishburn, as much shade as I throw at your face, I dig it. I respect you. You're a great competitor. Congrats to all 4 competitors this week, because these matches were nothing short of entertainment. And in the words of a great fictional character, are you not entertained? We were entertained. So thank you, Brad, Gilmore, and Steven, whatever your name is. Oh, yeah, Steph Sabra, that's right. So thank you for that. Great stuff. Andrew, how much of a smile on your face did you have when the Wizard came up?
Oh man, all I could think when that happened was the Power Glove, man. It's so bad.
Yes.
I mean, this is a great question, and you know what, fans? Normally, this is the point where I would say JT, but the truth is, both competitors using their JTs, they're playing their strategy about the best they could. So I can't say that. So instead, you can say it with me, fans. California. That's right. The Wizard. What a great question. Got to agree with you, Ryan. Between that and Princess Bride, Fred Savage was a staple of my VHS viewing as a child. Absolutely love these questions. Love the way both guys are playing it. Again, I can't fault Shimo. He does what he can. He takes his questions. I think maybe he indicated in this round with the questions that he missed a little bit of a gap. I think it's not that hard to pull in some of these questions. Maybe the Terry Gilliam, what movies he directed. I'm an old school Monty Python fan myself, so I've seen a lot of his work, and I'm always going to know that name. Very, very distinctive as a director. But I think both guys are playing well. And the takeaway from this matchup is character means a lot. These guys are both good competitors who are going to fight their way through the match as best they can. Maybe Shimo a step or two behind the whole way here. But Travis Fishburn is, and I'm going to say it for you now, fans, I don't love him all the time, although I do like the facial hair work. He is the real deal. Travis Fishburn is a competitor, should definitely be on the championship level at this point. And Sinister James Shimo, the Sinister Syndicate, will we see them debut? I certainly hope so. A lot of great stuff for both of these guys going forward. And two guys who proved they know the game, they know how to compete, and they know how to put on a show. In fact, all four competitors. Ryan, I have to mirror what you said earlier. What a week. Back and forth action. Great play from everybody involved. And the wonderful work on the desk, of course, from our favorites, Brad and the Stees. Really, really great all the way around. I wish we had the news about next week in the FCL so we could talk about what great matches were coming up. But if this is the level we're going to get out of the FCL, I got to say I'm excited. What a great week all the way around. Congratulations, I guess, to the winners. And sorry for your luck to the losers. It is the way that it breaks down sometimes. We're going to be seeing a lot more of, I think, all of these competitors in the future because this was a great week of FCL action. What a great way to put a stamp on a nice round number like FCL 20. Really, really loved it, top to bottom.
So, guys, the last question I want to ask before we tie a bow on this episode is Gallego's win brings him to 2-1, whereas Shimo's defeat brings him to 2-2. Ryan, do you think that Gallego goes ahead of Shimo, or is there enough money in the bank Shimo's still ahead of him in the rankings?
That's a tough one. I mean, I think Shimo could potentially still be ahead in the rankings, I think. But then again, I could be wrong because I don't know anything. I'm not the smartest person in the room. But no, he still might be there in the rankings. But you know what? Anything can happen. Brad Gilmore and the executives at FCL could put out the rankings in a couple weeks and say, hey, this is how the rankings are. This is where competitors are moving up. Some competitors are moving down. Others are coming in to making a big splash. I mean, obviously, Fishburn. Gee whiz. The guy's what? Is he 3-0 now or is it 4-0?
Yeah, 3-0.
3-0. Like, that's monstrous. So, he's got to be in the top 3 somewhere, or top 4. Well, if you count the champion, but the champion doesn't exist. Klaus didn't happen. But, yeah, rankings going to be interesting no matter how you slice it and dice it. But no, these were great matches, great competitors. And if they move up and down in the rankings, that's up to the executives. I will leave that to them. But anything's possible, Keith. That's what I will leave you with.
I think it's time that we finish the book or close the book on FCL 20. And seeing as we don't know who is going to be competing in FCL 21, Andrew, why don't you see us out for this week?
Absolutely, I will do that. Thank you, gentlemen, for your wonderful thoughts and opinions on everything that went down this week. We've got more action coming to you next week. Of course, we don't know what is coming your way, but rest assured, we'll all be here to break it down for you and tell you everything that's going on in the FCL. We've got some men on a mission. Travis Fishburn, I think, I'm just going to put it out there right now, on a collision course with a title match. He's got to be in that picture. He's among the greats of the FCL at this moment. The only thing speaking louder for Fishburn than a 3-0 record is maybe the print on his Hawaiian shirt when he shows up for his match. He is someone to watch. Can't wait to see more of him. And maybe he'll be back next week. We don't know what's going to happen with that. That said, that's everything for this week. And it's been a pleasure breaking it down for all you first-class fans out there. Remember to send your well wishes out to Elena Jordan and Jen Sturger. Get well soon, ladies. Keith, while we're on our way out, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you online?
Find me Twitter, Instagram, @KakelDuffMedia. Check out the Opening Pair YouTube channel. This week we dropped 2 nice pieces of content. My co-host Kyle Gavin had a wonderful conversation, the art of conversation, if you will, with Irish interprovincial cricketer Fionn Hand, and I dropped my own little review of The Suicide Squad, written and directed by Mr. James Gunn. Ryan, 60 seconds on the clock. Tell us all you're doing.
Yeah, that's not enough time. But anyhow, I'll try to do my best. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Check us out on all forms of social media, simply at It's Nerd Culture. New videos are being posted on our YouTube channel each and every week. And we thank all of you who have liked, commented, and subscribed to our channel. We really appreciate it. Check out my podcast called The Nerdcast, where I talk about some of the latest movies I've had a chance to see. It's on Anchor, Google, Spotify. You can download it there, for free. Check out my other podcast. It's called And I Quote. It's on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on our YouTube channel, or in our Facebook page, at It's Nerd Culture. Be sure to check that out. And by the way, Brad Gilmore, look forward to my debut in the FCL. Where's the belt, Brad? Where's the belt? And by the way, I just realized next week, FCL 21, FCL is going to be old enough to drink. That's awesome. Congratulations to Brad, Steve, everyone at the FCL. You're going to be 21 next week. Let's celebrate that. I know Keith has got some ideas. Vodka? Probably. Maybe something else.
Cheers.
But we'll let him decide later. But no, this was a great show. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having all of us. And we look forward to doing all of this. We look forward to doing this all over again next time. Am I right, folks?
Absolutely, Ryan. We do look forward to doing this all again next time. And it's been a pleasure to join you this time as we talked about everything going on in the FCL. We'll be back with some more first-class facts, some more matches, and everything that you need to know about all that's going on here in the FCL next time. And I am the Elk. You can find me online at Kelk Andrew. I am, of course, on this show, which you can check out on your favorite podcast feeds, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. I believe we're on all of them. I'd have to check with Chris Barnes because he's the man in charge of that stuff. And here on YouTube, if you're watching on the video, thank you for joining us. Please feel free to like, share, comment, whatever you'd like. We love the engagement and we'd love to get back to you. But with all that out of the way, the unknown awaits us in FCL 21. Next week, we'll be back to break it all down as next week we discuss everything that happened this week in the FCL.